Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. I am Justin and this is Aquavita Woodworks, where I like to build stuff using my Shapeoko CNC machine. Today we're going to be building this 3-bottle wine rack. So if you want to see how I did that, stick around. Let's get into it. So this is actually a prototype that I made for this project. As you can see, it has a custom logo and spaces for 3 wine bottles to stick in out the back. The only thing I don't like about this is how I secured this top piece to the base. As you can see, I kind of butchered it here. I was trying to use some threaded inserts and it just didn't seem to work. So I think I found a solution to that, and that's going to be a wooden dowel that allows me to set the piece, glue it in place, and then drive some screws into the back once I'm done. So with that being said, let's go start gathering our materials.
The first thing you need for this project is one of these 1-inch thick teak panels from Lowe's. These are about $50 in my area and come 16 inches by 36 inches. This will allow us to make 4 of these wine racks. Up next, you'll need to get 2 of these wine or whiskey barrel staves.
So just one note about these barrel staves. These are red wine barrel staves. As you can see, they have a red stain on the inside from the red wine. You can also use whiskey barrel staves, which I think are easier to find and probably cheaper online. You can find these on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist if you just type in barrel staves. Usually they're about $3 to $4 each, and this project, in order to make 4 wine racks, requires 2 staves. So for $8 plus the $50 for the base, you can make 4 wine racks, which I think is a pretty good deal. When you do buy them, look for ones that are about 2.5 to 3 inches wide in the middle right here, because we are going to be using a 1.25 inch Forstner bit to put a hole in the middle to hold the necks of the bottles. So you want some room on the sides just in case you are off center a little bit. So yeah, find these online and you should be good to go.
In addition to the base and staves, you'll also need a 3/8 inch dowel, 2.5 inch construction screws, ore mask and paint to customize any text or logo, a fancy router bit of your choice to make the edges look a little more interesting, and a 1.25 inch Forstner bit to drill holes for the bottlenecks. Once you have all your materials, you can jump into Carbide Create or whatever CAD program you use and start assigning your toolpaths. You may have noticed that the logo I'm using for these 4 is different than the one I showed at the prototype at the beginning of this video. I also customized 2 of them by adding personal names. Another thing to note here is that rectangle with the circle in the middle is not something that I'm actually going to carve out. It's just referencing where the barrel stave is going to be placed. I am, however, going to pocket out that small circle so I can place my 3/8 inch dowel into the hole. When it comes to assigning toolpaths, it's overall pretty simple. I'm using an advanced V-carve for the logo, a V-carve for the names, a pocket toolpath all the way through the stock for that small circle, and then an outside contour with tabs for the outside perimeter of the oval. Once you're finished, this is what it should look like. Let's go get this on the machine.
Off camera, I cut down this piece of teak to 32 inches. It came as a 36-inch panel, so only 4 inches off the top, and we're good to go. Again, this is going to make 4 of these wine racks. I'm going to now sand it up to 120 grit sandpaper just so I can put the ore mask on a smooth surface. So let's do that now. When it comes to applying the ore mask, I like to use an air compressor and then a tack cloth to get all the dust off. And I'm also going to try to use less ore mask. Instead of covering the whole piece, I'm going to try to put some strips this way, just where my logo is going to be. I didn't really measure where that is going to be exactly, so I'm going to guess by eye. We'll see if it works out. Worst case scenario, I can just sand away the paint that I put on top. But yeah, so I'm going to put some ore mask right here, in this area, and in this area, and hopefully I guessed correctly. So let's do it.
You can also see here that I like to use the edge of a 2x4 to flatten out the ore mask and make sure that's secured to the workpiece. Once your ore mask is all set, you can clamp down your workpiece to your Shapeoko, set your X, Y, and Z locations, and start carving. I'm not going to show you too much of this piece carving because I want to show you how I prep the barrel staves. The good thing about this project and CNCs in general is that you can let the machine do its job while you prep other material. Before I show you how to prep the staves, let's have a quick word from our sponsor.
The sponsor of today's video is me. I don't have any sponsors, guys, so if you like these videos, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to buy some plans for this project, they're really simple. I think I put them on my Etsy page for a few bucks. The link for that is in the video description. So thanks for watching the video. Let's get back into it.
Prepping the barrel staves is really simple. Measure where the center is and cut them in half with a miter saw. Just be careful here because these are not straight pieces of wood, so they will be moving around a little bit. Once they're halved, move your miter saw to a 15-degree angle and cut the bottoms off the staves so that they lean forward. This is the result that you're looking for. Once that's done, take a tape measure and start measuring for hole placement. You want to add 3 holes into this piece that's about 18 inches tall, so measure them equally about 5 inches apart and you should be good. This doesn't have to be exact. As you can see, I'm really going through this quickly, and that's because it's a rustic piece, so as long as the holes are pretty uniform, it's going to look okay. Once your hole locations are marked, grab a 1 1/4 inch Forstner bit and use a drill press or a hand drill to drill 3 holes through each barrel stave. And once again, make sure to hold these securely because this is not a flat piece of wood. After the holes are drilled, I like to use a round over bit in my router table to put a nice little accent on the front of the stave. This also makes it smoother for the bottles to slip in and out of the holes. And before we can start sanding, take a 3/8 inch Forstner bit and drill a hole into the center of the bottom of each stave, about 1/2 inch deep. It doesn't really matter because we're going to be gluing in some oversized dowels into this hole in just a second. Once that's done, sand everything up to 120 grit or 220, whatever your preference is, and glue in oversized dowels to the bottom of the staves. Cut these dowels at about 2.5 inches long, and they'll be long enough for the project. Basically, you just want to make sure that they're long enough to stick through the base so that you can flush trim them once you're done. After your dowels are glued in place, you can go grab your piece from the machine, which is already done carving, and start painting over the ore mask. I cut off the tabs with a multi-tool before sloppily adding paint with a foam brush. Once the paint is dry, start removing your ore mask using one of these weeding tools. It's nice to pick out the ore mask with these small details, but be careful that you don't dig into your wood with the little needle nose. Once that's all off, give it a quick sand before heading over to your router table to trim up the edges.
So I have my 4 pieces cut out, sanded, and ready to be routed on the edges. My plan was to use this fancy trim router, I guess you'd call it, the router bit, to make a cool edge on the side here. But I just realized now that the ones with the names on them, I shifted this logo down, so it's probably too close to the edge, and I don't want this to cut off the logo or the names here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this bit on the ones with no name, and then on these I'll just use a simple round over, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I can't really help it now. This would just be too aggressive and take too much off the top. So let's head over to the router table and make these edges nice and pretty.
I wish I could have used that fancier bit on all of them because the round over bit doesn't make these look as good in my opinion. Unfortunately, the battery in my mic died while I was filming this, so forgive me for just talking over myself. Basically, what I'm explaining here is that now that everything is sanded up to 220 grit and routed, I need to start gluing the barrel staves onto the bases. I use a combination of wood glue and CA glue with an accelerator to make sure that the stave is secure on the base once I insert the dowel. And obviously these dowels are oversized, so they will stick through the base like I'm showing right here. We're going to flush trim that after everything is dry. I found it helpful to hang the side of the base with the hole in it off the table. That way the stave and the dowel could stick all the way through, and you could align everything as you need to while you're gluing it in place. Once the glue is set, take a countersink bit and drill 1 hole on each side of the dowel into the barrel stave. Make sure that you're drilling it at the same angle the stave is placed. That way your screws don't pop through on the top side of your piece. Drive in your screws and you should be good to go to flush cut the dowel off the bottom of the base. And again, I apologize for the broken mic, but here I am showing you that indeed I was able to complete these. I am going to spray these with lacquer, but I'm not going to show you that because it's kind of boring. Basically, I just spray a bunch of coats of lacquer with 800 grit sandpaper in between, let them set, and then we're good to go. So let's fast forward to the finished product.
Okay, so here is one of the finished products. As you can see, the wine slips in and out of these holes nicely, and it looks pretty good on the table as a display. This would be a really good wedding gift, I think, because you can customize the names on them. I will say that just make sure that you leave enough room on the edge. This is the roundover bit here, but I think that this one with the fancier bit looks a little nicer and makes it look a little more expensive. So yeah, you can do that. Also, some options that you can do is maybe put epoxy resin in here instead of paint. You can even make this taller or shorter. It's really up to you, but overall this project is really simple and looks pretty good, I think. So yeah, thank you for watching, and leave me a comment down below and give me some ideas what else you want to see me make. And as always, give me a like and subscribe. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.